Hi, I'm bringing you my first Simon Says of 2022 from my living room, and I'm going to be working from home until Wednesday. Some of you may know that I started the new year testing positive for COVID-19, and I wanted to share that experience with you as we are seeing record case numbers across the state and nation. My husband and I thought we were doing everything we were supposed to be doing and taking the proper precautions. We still wear masks in crowded places, we wash our hands all the time, etc. But on December 23rd, my husband and I went out to eat with some friends who are all fully vaccinated and boosted. Philip and I had gotten 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine back in April, and we were scheduled to get our boosters the week after Christmas. On Christmas Day, we found out that one of our boosted friends had tested positive for COVID-19. My husband was having some allergy-like symptoms when he woke up that morning, and to be fully honest with you, we didn't think much of it. We weren't around this friend for a very long period of time, so I ended up getting my booster shot on December 27th as scheduled. Then on Tuesday, the allergy symptoms for my husband started to be more like cold-like symptoms, so we went and got him a PCR test, but they told us it was going to take at least 24 hours, and throughout that day, his symptoms started getting worse. So I went to the drugstore and got some at-home test kits. We each took one, and I was negative, but my husband was positive. Up until that moment, we have been sharing food and drinks and sleeping in the same bed, so I knew I was probably bound to get it, but in my experience, I felt like the booster and my immune system were working hard to fight off whatever I had been exposed to. Philip and I tried isolating as best as we could, and I even slept on an air mattress and kept every surface disinfected while he unfortunately was in bed with a fever. That night when I was trying to sleep, I had a headache and a stuffy nose, and I thought for sure I had COVID at this point. So I went to that same drive-through testing site and took a PCR test. And later that day, Philip's results came back saying what we already knew, that yes, he had COVID, he was positive. So my results came back Thursday, the day before New Year's Eve, and they were negative. So Thursday through Sunday, I was feeling fine. I even ran a couple miles on New Year's Day. Sunday, January 2nd, that stuffy nose came back, but otherwise I was feeling okay. I took an at-home COVID test that afternoon just to make sure I was good to go back to work, and it was positive. I was bummed, but not too surprised, because a COVID specialist actually told my friend, who's also a journalist, that in their experience, they've seen people who have had an exposure test negative in the beginning and then later test positive. So that's basically what happened to me. I took a PCR test the next day and the result was inconclusive, but the bottom line is I was having congestion, fatigue, headaches, which of course are all symptoms of COVID. Again, my at-home antigen test was positive, and it is my company's policy to stay home for 10 days after a positive test result. And I was having a few more days of headaches, fatigue, as well as a stuffy nose. I'm giving you all these details to say I'm grateful that I was able to recover at home. Pre-COVID, I think a lot of us would go to work with these cold-like symptoms. I know I certainly did and have. The Omicron variant is very contagious, and while I've seen people double down on their skepticism of vaccines, I will link the latest research out of the UK for you that shows that if you have 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, your risk of hospitalization is reduced by 65%, and if you have a booster, your risk of hospitalization is reduced by at least 80%. Yes, Omicron is technically more mild than Delta, but it is still a serious infection, especially for people who are unvaccinated. The reality is people are still dying in this Omicron wave. If you still have questions about getting the vaccine, talk with your doctor, but the majority of ICU beds are still filled with unvaccinated people. Here in Arkansas, we hit a daily case count over the weekend with more than 8,000 new cases in a single day. A lot of doctors believe we could reach a peak as early as this week with Omicron and be in a better situation by as soon as the end of the month, but obviously everything's still TBD. The purpose of today's Simon Says is to encourage you to take care of yourself and your family. Exercise, eat more whole foods than processed foods, and get enough sleep. And hopefully if we take precautions and do all the things we can control, we'll be out of this pandemic soon.